like a, who's this? Hey, hey, hey. Okay. Hey, hey, hey. Welcome back to the Geriatric
It's you, Ashley. It's you.
It's like a Bad Albert thing or something weird like that from back in the
Yes.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Geriatric Momma podcast. I am Ashley Bailey Burley, a Geriatric Momma. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Of course, I would not be here if it wasn't for my girl, Claire Bucchiani. Claire, how is it going today? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. I'm feeling cozy. We decided to really lean into today's topic today. We're wearing our robes. I feel fabulous and comfy. And, ready to hear your story, Ashley. I'm really ready.
Well, let's jump into it. Today we're talking about it's kind of a tough subject, postpartum depression, and just a postpartum life in general. Now, we're wearing our robes today because in my time going through, and I'm technically still postpartum, right? It's just I think I've come through the rougher patches of it. That first couple weeks is really rough, and that's what we're going to focus on today. But I lived in this robe. This was my comfort. So I wanted to make sure that we had it on today, and just represent that, when you're going through postpartum, take care of yourself, make sure you feel good as much as possible. Little things like wearing your favorite robe, eating your favorite snacks. Don't worry about losing weight and all that kind of mess and all that shit when you're postpartum. Like, it's about the mind and your emotions that you need to focus on. So we're just going to jump into it today. So I'm sure that everyone experiences postpartum a little bit differently, right? And it's really an emotional roller coaster that I went on. I'm not sure I've ever talked to a mom who didn't experience postpartum depression or some sort of emotional roller coaster after they've given birth. For me, it was definitely a depressive state. So you come home, your hormones are all over the place, and mentally, emotionally, and physically, you've changed so much from this miraculous and such an amazing event that has occurred. You've given birth to your child. So the best way that I can describe my experience with postpartum is just feeling completely overwhelmed by so many emotions that they all just kind of mush together into this grayness, if that makes sense, I was so happy that I had gotten through labor and delivery because, it scared the hell out of me, and I did it. I felt good about that. I was also terrified. Now I have a newborn, a 3-day-old baby back at my home that I have to learn how to feed. I have to learn how to support him in every way because they're completely dependent on you. And I've never experienced that before. I have never had anyone completely dependent on me. So there's a little bit of pressure there as well. And then just physically, you are completely drained. You are probably the most tired and exhausted you've ever been in your life. And it's not like a tired or exhaustion that you've ever felt before, And this is just the reality of it. And to a certain extent, that's what you're getting into, but you just have to experience it and feel it to know what that feels like. So mentally, I was feeling very heavy, very overwhelmed. And for me, that turned into a little bit of sadness. I was extremely sensitive. I can laugh about it now, but I had swollen ankles and swollen feet. And my husband, who's amazing, he looked at them. He looked at them and he was like, damn. And I was like,
Justin!
I went in the bedroom and started crying. Like, I had a complete breakdown over it. And he felt so bad. And listen, my husband is so supportive. He's the best. We are a great team. And if I wasn't postpartum and that happened, I would have made a joke right back at him and we would have been cracking up about it. But because I was postpartum, I was just like, how could you say that to me? You know how I'm feeling right now. I can't help that my fucking feet are swollen. My ankles are swollen. I just pushed a baby out of my vagina. You want to sit here and make a joke?
Yeah, how dare he?
That's how the thoughts just they just hit you so hard, and then they're just off to the races, and it's just so many things coming at you at once. And my mom was here, and she was like, girl, you going through it right now. You know, you're not that upset about your feet and ankles being swollen. It was just it was just a joke. Your feelings, she made me aware that my feelings are valid, but she also allowed me to put myself in a space where I could look at what I was upset about and just go, okay, I need to reel it in, know that I am hormonal right now, know that I'm very sensitive right now, and that's okay, but I don't have to let it get the best of me, you know, if I can. Sometimes it does just get the best of you. I had set up a therapy session with my therapist before I even gave birth because I have a history of anxiety and depression, and I wanted to make sure that I had support going into this. And she told me that what I thought was really interesting, because all I wanted to do was have my baby in my bedroom with the door closed in the bed and just the two of us. You know, I had all this amazing support. My mom was here, Justin was here. I had my niece and nephew who were just so loving and wanted to see the baby. And my Justin's mom, my mother-in-law, was here. And everyone, it was just great energy, you know, it was very supportive. But I didn't want any of that. I just wanted to be alone. I just wanted to be alone with the baby. So I talked to my therapist about a lot of things, which was great. If you don't have a therapist, consider looking into one, going into your pregnancy journey, and definitely have that support afterwards, if you can. But she told me that it's very natural for me to feel this way. It's called cocooning. And that's basically when the mom wants to just cocoon with the baby, and it's a very natural state of being. And knowing that was sort of a relief. It kind of lifted that heaviness, a little bit of heaviness, off of my shoulders, because I was like, the way I'm feeling is totally natural. And that's the thing. Postpartum is natural. To have those really heavy and depressing feelings, it is natural to feel that way. But for some women, those feelings become so overwhelming that it gets to a scary point where it's just not healthy for them. And if it's not healthy for them, it's not healthy for the baby. So that's why here at the Geriatric Momma, we are encouraging all the mamas to get support through therapy. You can talk to your OBs about it. They can refer you to someone. But it's really important because sometimes those thoughts can get a little carried away and they can get a little scary. And I'll admit it, I had some thoughts that really scared me. But I had support where I could talk to someone about it, whether that be my therapist, my mom, my husband. My mother-in-law was very encouraging and saying, if you need to have a session and get some therapy, do it. You need it now, and that's understandable. So get that support and know how you feel at that moment is totally natural. It's your body. It's the hormones. It's not you going, quote, crazy. It's not you being irrational. You just went through a major event, and your body and your mind is reacting to it. So just set up the best defense as you possibly can for that. But yeah, I was just feeling very overwhelmed and feeling very heavy, and I couldn't control my thoughts. And being that I do have severe anxiety disorder anyway, I was very anxious at the same time. But who's not going to be anxious when you bring a baby home, you know?
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, it's this human being that is completely and totally reliant on you, and you've never done it before, especially if it's your first. And even if, you know, if it's your second or third or whatever number, you know, that's no matter what, a huge life change.
Absolutely.
And I'm so proud of you for making sure to take care of yourself, because that's really, really, really important. And I mean, your hormones just completely drop right after you give birth. Like they've been building your whole pregnancy, and then they just drop off. So of course, you know, your body and your mind and everything are going to go a little haywire.
Absolutely. And I didn't have a C-section, but I've talked to a lot of moms who have. And just because you don't push your baby out doesn't mean that those hormones aren't still going to have some impact on you. So even if you're planning on having a C-section, or you have a C-section and you're in that postpartum part of your journey, seek help, because you still have all those hormones going, you know, haywire in your body, and you need support too. With my experience, I feel like the heaviness, the really heavy part of it, it probably lasts about 2.5 weeks before I didn't feel so overwhelmed. I still feel overwhelmed, right?
Sure.
Completely with
Yeah.
almost 8-month-old. But the way you feel that first 2.5 weeks, at least in my experience, is unlike anything I've ever experienced before. So to have that support was essential in me getting through it. And one thing that really it didn't irk me, but it just kind of put it right in my face that I was experiencing postpartum is when after you have your baby, you're going to the doctor a lot. And at least with my doctors here in California at UCLA, which I really love, I love UCLA and the way they treated me and my family and continue to this day. But you have to do like this survey as a mom with every appointment. And it asks you all these questions like, do you feel overwhelmed? Do you cry for no reason? Do you have no hope? Are you just,
Gosh.
do you feel like you're going to hurt yourself or your baby? And I would get so irritated with those surveys. But now that I look back, it is really important that they keep track of that because
Sure.
you might not realize that you're feeling a certain way. And that can lead to bigger issues down the line. So if you have your doctors tracking your emotional and mental state, and perhaps you have a therapist that you can talk to. I talk to mine like once a month at that point. Actually, probably twice right after I gave birth. And now I'm talk to my therapist once a month. I love my therapist. I need my therapist.
Love it.
We all need therapy.
We love
in my
therapy
opinion.
here. Yeah, oh yeah.
Yes, 100%. And then if you have a support system with your partner, your mom, a friend, whoever, make sure you have at least that one person that you can go and just vent to, and that person will receive it and not judge you and not necessarily try and give you a bunch of advice, but just let you get a lot of things off of your chest and a lot of these thoughts out of your mind, because that is essential. You're going through so much. Postpartum can be very scary. I was scared. I wanted to make sure that I didn't do anything to hurt the baby, and I didn't have any feelings of hurting myself, but it's like everything feels so irrational. Like nothing seems to make sense sometimes. So
Sure.
honestly, I can see how for some women, anything can kind of happen if they're completely overwhelmed and don't have a way to vent. So it's so important, and I will always press this point. When you're going through postpartum, seek help in any way. Even if you're not feeling overwhelmed, trust me, you probably are. And just to have a good conversation is going to make you feel so much better. It's kind of scary. It's a scary experience, but it's one that we can get through. You're a mama now. You've gone through labor and delivery. You've gone through a whole pregnancy experience. Postpartum is a big, big deal, but remember that it's only a short amount of time in your journey with pregnancy, the whole thing, and becoming a mama. So just make sure you get some support,
Yeah. And we're here to support you too. So if you ever
Absolutely.
have, questions, comments, feel free to reach out. Ashley and I are all about creating a space for all of you to feel supported.
Yes, this is a community. It is a community. Now, I will say the one thing that I don't know if there's a good part of postpartum, but the amount of sleep, whenever you can squeeze in a nap, if you have some support in that way, get in there and get some sleep. Because being rested actually, for me, helps my mind stay a little bit clear. So put on your favorite robe, get cozy, order all the takeout you can have.
Oh, yeah.
Find your favorite show. It's the perfect time to binge watch something, because it takes your mind off of, what's going on a little bit. And just take care of yourself. Pamper yourself as much as you can. If you're kind to yourself during postpartum, you're going to get through it that much better. But if you beat yourself up, which is so easy to do, and I understand why we do it. I've been through that. I beat myself up outside of, postpartum. And everything is just so much more intense when you're going through it. But be kind to yourself, show yourself some grace, and know, this is a big thing, know that it's 100% natural to go through postpartum. This is your body and your mind's reaction to what you've just done in giving birth or having a baby, however your baby gets here. You're going to go through it. It's just a small amount of time, and you can get through it. You can get through it. But take care of yourself.
Yeah.
If that's a facial, favorite robe.
Self-care, baby. That's what it's all about.
Self-care, 100%, 100%. It was really hard for me to prepare for this episode because I still get a little emotional thinking about my postpartum depression. And I thought that because I had gone through therapy for depression and anxiety before that I wasn't going to have a problem with this.
It's in the bag.
I was just going to fly through it. You know, I have all these tools that I've been given to deal with anxiety and depression. I've been able to incorporate those things into my life, and I've gotten on top of it. But this is something completely different. So
Yeah.
show yourself some grace. Have a partner of some sort, whether that be someone you know personally or someone professionally that you can talk to. And you'll get through it. You will. It's such a small amount of time, and you can totally do it.
Yes, you can do it. Ashley, thank you so much for being vulnerable with us today and for sharing your story, because I know that it will help so many of our listeners and watchers out there. And it really, it helps me too. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
That's what we're doing here at the Geriatric Momma. We're building a community on truth and honesty. We're talking about the things that women are made to feel ashamed to talk about when it comes to our pregnancy journeys and becoming a mom. We need to talk about these things because it makes it so much easier for women who are going through it, and it makes it better for us, at least for me, to get it out there and get it out of my head and just share it with someone. So I hope that we were able to impact someone today with this, was just talking about postpartum, because it's a part of life, it's a part of your journey, and you can get through it, okay? So, Claire, I love you so much. I can't wait to see you in our next episode.
Yeah.
You take care of yourself and little baby P down there.
I will. And you take care of yourself. Continue to take care of yourself, because you are doing such an amazing job, and I hope you know that.
Thanks, Boo Boo. I appreciate that. And to all of our listeners, remember, as always, take care of yourself, mind, body, and spirit. And we will talk to you next time. Bye-bye.